Happy Beltane, happy May Day, happy full moon in Scorpio. There is a lot of energy that's packed into this day, and I am here recording on Friday, May 1st, and wanted to just quickly get a reading for you guys before I head out for the weekend. I am headed out to a beautiful retreat with some of my women friends. We are going to be doing crafting all weekend around bonfires and in the woods and all of those wonderful things. So I also welcome you guys to take a moment for yourself during this full moon this weekend and just trying to settle into a practice of self-care as things come up for you. It's a big moon. It's a big full moon in Scorpio. So it really helps bring about some of the deepest and darkest things, the things that we don't want to look at, the things that we don't want to see come up to the surface about ourselves, about our relationships, about other people, all really to be healed. And during the season of Beltane, which is the exact halfway point between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. So we have balance there as we move throughout the astrological year. And this is a season of celebration, of fertility, of getting in groups of women dancing around maypoles. There's lots of bonfires and just different things that to really just celebrate togetherness, the seeds that you have started to plant are starting to grow, all of these wonderful good things. So all that being said, thank you so much for joining me today for Readings with Rachel. I'm Rachel. Thank you so much. And as always, please take what resonates, leave the rest. You know how I do. And all right, let's start to soften, to relax into this space, to soften your shoulders, relax your jaw, get your feet on the ground, maybe place a hand on your belly, hand on your heart. And as always, we're going to take 3 collective deep breaths together, starting with a deep inhalation in and out, softening even further, and in and out, and in, and a deep breath out. Thank you, Spirit, for being with us in this reading today. May we have eyes to see and ears to hear all the wisdom and messages that are coming through in the cards and in the imagery today. Thank you. All right, let's see what we have in store for us in these next 2 weeks ahead. As I said, it's full moon Scorpio. So depending on where that hits in your chart, it's going to bring up, we've already got one coming. We've already got a lot of just emotional processing that all of us are going to be going through. Aw, 6 of Cups. Energy that's coming in. Thank you, Spirit. We like to see the 6 of Cups. 6 of Cups, again, cups represent the element of water. So this again speaks to our relationships, our emotional relationships with that harmonize together, right? You can see in this picture a group of women, literally this is going to be me tonight, in the forest and underneath the night sky, and they're just grouped together in this beautiful circle of just communion and harmony together. Oftentimes this card can represent the relationship we have that feels more childlike, the joy that we have when we're together or doing something that we truly love in this kind of childlike way. It's getting back to our inner self and the things that we loved to do when maybe we were 5, or these aspects of the things that give us joy, the things that give us this harmony within our relationships is is a lovely thing to really celebrate on this May 1st full moon in Scorpio. All right, what else? What other energy is coming up for us in these next 2 weeks? Spirit, thank you. Knight of Cups, more cups. All right, I love seeing a good knight. Again, horses represent movement. So the knights really are representative of all of the mutable signs in this way that they can take an action and finally move forward with it. So again, if the pages were a message or an idea, it is the knight that chooses to act on that. So it is maybe us choosing to act on an emotional relationship and moving forward with that this week. Maybe we're seeing new relationships form this week or the week or two ahead in this next 2 weeks before we hit the new moon in Taurus. And that's a powerful moon because I'll get to that in a second, but essentially it's the new moon in Taurus, which is basically also right beforehand we have a Mercury Cazimi. It's literally, this new moon is on the fixed star Algol. It's really opening up the doors to this kind of process for us about starting how we value ourselves and our worth and all of those sorts of things. So maybe the relationships that we are formed in our lives, that we have around us, we need to move forward with those that are in much more harmony, is how I would read that. All right, what are some of the challenges that we might have coming ahead this week? 10 of Pentacles reversed. Interesting. I know I say that a lot. I find lots of things interesting. The imagery on this card represents this kind of generational wealth. This is a card of completion. The 10s always are. And in this card, we have the ability to see not just how our wealth and security is able to benefit us personally, but also our parents, our children, our children's children, many generations. This card is something that like allows this kind of accumulation of resources and at this completion point of like, you did it, you got there. This is one of those sustainability and abundance, a card of abundance, right? So when we're looking at this in a reversed position, maybe what's coming up to the surface for us in this full moon in Scorpio is how we have cultivated a life for ourselves that maybe we have to look at the blocks towards how we have valued our certain parts of ourselves. Maybe it's time to look at how we view our self-worth before we hit the new moon. And then ultimately, Pentacles represent the sign of Earth. So all of these things are the things that allow us to feel more secure when we're here on Earth. It being in the reverse position, like I said, feels like something is blocked around that. That's something that we have to look at. Maybe this is something that's coming up to the surface for us this next week or two that we can look at and say, oh, I did heal that as a part of my ancestral patterns or lineage. Maybe your beliefs about how much you feel like you are worth, or maybe the belief about needing to feel like you have enough. All of these things could be coming up to the surface for you in this way that you have to kind of prune. So a lot of times when we're looking at this energy of a full moon in Scorpio, one of the things that comes to mind, it's kind of very intense dark moon usually. I like a good Scorpio full moon, actually. Lots of good release, but you could look at the release as like pruning, like these trees, like pruning your life. What in your life needs to be pruned so that the resources and more space for these resources can come in? So a lot of times, we're kind of hopeful for all of this new thing to appear in our lives, and we cannot take on more if we're not getting rid of the old, right? Then, I think that's a good practice for us to have. So maybe our beliefs about Money when we were young might be coming up between the Six of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. Maybe how we viewed our security when we were young. Maybe those things are getting looked at. All right, what other clarifying card can we have for this one? What other challenges? Ha ha. Nine of Wands. Okay, so this is really about setting better boundaries for ourselves as we hit this like emotionally intense full moon energy. We have to protect our own emotional state and be able to regulate within ourselves, providing this ability for us to create better boundaries with our relationships, better boundaries with our family, better boundaries with our friendships, better boundaries with our partners, better boundaries, because we've got a lot of cups for the relationship on this energy, right? So the people who we spend our time with emotionally, the things that carry weight for us in that sense, all of that has to be looked at in a way that we're willing to prune, that we're willing to step back, that we're willing to say, that's energetically taxing. No more. Or, fire is the element for wands. And so when it looks at a 9, it's almost the completion point, right? She's really worked hard in setting herself up here. All that being said is at the end of the day, like if you place too many things around you in this fortress of a sense, then you also have to look at that, right? So it's about balance. It's really about this completion point of recognizing where you're at and how to make sure that you have balance around the energy around you. Right. So protect your energy. All right. What messages from Spirit are coming through for this full moon in Scorpio? What messages? Ha. Ooh, 10 of Wands. This is the next card in the deck. And I don't know if you can see here, but it's these two together. So she has collected all of her wands. And at the end of the day, the 10 is the completion point, which is about this woman in this particular card is carrying all of the wands, all of the sticks, all the staves. And it's kind of a heavy load, but it must be done. And this card is usually depleted, right? It doesn't have a lot of color to it. It's a very different color than the card that you see here with all the green and the beautiful flowers and all the crystals. And so it's in this reverse position means that like the advice from Spirit would be like, it's okay to let go. It's okay not to carry the weight anymore. It's okay to believe that you're done with a certain part of that narrative, of that story. And if you don't realize that, you can be free from something that's been creating a lot of dead weight, so to speak, for you, allow yourself some time to process that and then give yourself a moment to like breathe. Like don't always feel like you have to replace something that you've lost or replace something that you have released and let go of immediately with something else. Don't worry. The right thing, the right person, the right position, the right thing that inspires your spirit, right? Wands are about our will, our drive, our spirit, our desires. The thing that's going to come in after you've released all of that is going to resonate with you at that vibrational like match even better than what you had before. And so, yes, with discernment, yes, with this ability that like, it's okay to let go. Three of Pentacles. This is the work, guys. This is part of the shadow work. This is the work that we do. Pentacles, again, is about a security point. This is how we work together. So maybe this is something that we can do in a process with others. Maybe this is something that allows us to open up space for new opportunities with other people, new opportunities for like creative, collaborative opportunities for work, opportunities for outings, opportunities for abundance, opportunities for job, opportunities to be in community with other people of the like mind, right? So they're all working on this tapestry together. It being reversed means that like you have to believe that this is an option even first to get there. When you are able to release the dead weight in your life after looking at it, it's what Scorpio, full moon Scorpio is going to help us do. It's going to bring up to the surface, especially because we've got Mercury conjunct Chiron today. So anything that's being discussed in this window of time, anything you hear, observe it. Emails, messages, thoughts, things you write in your journal, things you hear from other people, conversations you have with partners, conversations you have with friends, coworkers, all of these things. Observe the information, because ultimately something about these Mercury communication, these aspects of Mercury, as he sits there with Chiron, are coming up to be healed. These are our deepest wounds that maybe we haven't addressed yet. Maybe we've suppressed them down deep into the ocean, right? So if I was telling this to my friend this morning on one of our walks, that I love the analogies of, elemental theory, right? So if Scorpio represents Scorpio, so of the water signs, we have our cardinal sign, water, Cancer. So think of that as like a lake, stationary. It emerges after rain. And then you have a mutable water sign, which is Pisces. And so that might look like a river that moves from one location to flowing to another. And then you have fixed water, which is the ocean, right? That's Scorpio. That is the deepest parts and the darkest parts of the ocean that feel like just so overwhelming sometimes and so massive, right? So that's what's coming up to the surface for all of us in this period of time. A lot of these things really might have started to ping us, 6 months ago. Other aspects of this could have come into play even 18 months ago. So all that being said, we have a lot of energy around this coming through in relationships, coming with the cups, coming through in how we value and our boundaries, and then ultimately being willing to just let it go. The bottom card of the deck we have is the 10 of Cups, one of the happy family cards in the deck. So ultimately this is to allow us space for more joy, for more happiness, for more abundance, for more fulfillment in our life. And when we are able to release those things that have weighed us down, like the 10 of Wands, we are able to create space. Okay. I have a special treat for you guys. I received a new deck, a new oracle deck from my absolutely amazing, wonderful, wise friend, April Treadle. And she created these cards that are really for body affirmations, and it's called Encircled. And these are cards to inspire and honor the natural cycles in our bodies, just with beautiful phrasing. So I wanted to use her deck to celebrate Beltane, to celebrate the festival of fertility, our lives, and maybe like the feminine energy that's really around this this period of time, just to see what might else come through for us. So, all right, Spirit, what can we see in order to do some self-care? We've got, oh, of course, I am supported by my community. And it's such a beautiful message, especially paired with that 6 of Cups. We've got the 3 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups. So we've got a lot of that to support this energy. What else, Spirit? What else can we? Ha-ta-ta. Oh, I allow cozy things to comfort me. that is great advice for this full moon. Take a hot bath, do a cozy, just kind of night to yourself, night in. Watch a beautiful, like, deep movie that's going to make you cry, like, that's a good release too, and the bottom card that we have on here is I am strong. So I love these cards, and I will put on the link below where you can find those out. Yeah, I think I will leave this here. Good luck, my friends and soul family. I wish you all the best for the next 2 weeks ahead. And I'm looking forward to the month of May. I love Taurus season. This is my birthday season, my solar return. And I love that, that when we have the sun in Taurus, just it gives us that cozy feeling. It gives us that need to be, in self-care as well. And so the more we're able to fulfill that for ourselves, the better regulated we are emotionally, the better we can handle the need for more patience with our family, friends, and kids or colleagues, And so it's just the more that we're able to embody those Taurian, the stability, the groundedness, the patience, all of these things that are the higher octaves of Taurus, then we're able to really set a good example for others in our community, in our neighborhoods, in our place of work, and to allow others to be able to see that you can, they can do the same. So I encourage you all to do that for yourself this weekend as you celebrate this beautiful new month of May. All right. Thank you guys. As always, take what resonates, leave the rest. And I wish you guys a beautiful week ahead.